Required listening with Amazon Music.
Dad music again?
The greatest guitarist of all time.
Wait, who?
Alexa, add this song to a new playlist.
Sure, what's the new playlist name?
Jack's Intro to Classic Rock.
Adding Stepping Stone by Jimi Hendrix to Jack's Intro to Classic Rock playlist.
Amazon Music, the simplest way to listen to the music you and soon he will love. New customers start your 30-day free trial at amazonmusic.com. Renews automatically, cancel anytime.
Blog Talk Radio.
I'm getting told. Welcome to the war room. We got Dez, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the hot block commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Roll with the topic, sort of like some rebels when it's game time. They like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th, so the war in Kuwait. It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated. What's good, War Room family? Once again, live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports. On the War Room Sports Podcast Network, I'm one of your hosts. I'm Devin McMillan. I'm in the buildings with my brothers. We got B. Austin here and Jimmy the Blueprint going to join us in just a few. There's just a few teams separating themselves from the pack during the stretch run of the NBA regular season. But right now, Fred Purdue is about to join for his NFL Combine report. So settle in, keep it locked right here. And to get in on all the sports conversations this evening, make sure you join us right now in the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room, or you can join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 15 minutes when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. During the week, we're not live on the air. Be sure to check out archive episodes of our show at warroomsports.com. The War Room Sports mobile app, which is free, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, and most other places you do your podcast listening. What up, B? What's going on, man? Long time. I wasn't here last week. You and Jimmy held that down. What's going on with you this week? All right. I can't hear B. Hopefully he can hear me. But everything is everything. Before we get started, it's been a pretty wild week in sports, to say the least. You got the Rockets on that 17-game win streak, and people are starting to notice. People are actually starting to believe in the Rockets in a Golden State Warriors-dominated world. But right now, we want to talk a little bit about the NFL Combine, and to do that, we got my homie and my partner from Cover 2 with Millen and Purdue, Fred Purdue, in the building. Fred, what's going on, good brother?
What's going on, fam? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you? It's
it's not particularly real football, but it's the underwear Olympics. Everyone likes seeing guys around 40s and bench press a lot.
Yeah, I mean, as a college football guru, this is still one of the times of the year when you're just way up in your wheelhouse, talking that combine, talking that upcoming NFL draft. So what's been going on at the NFL Combine? I've heard a few big stories come out of it. But what you got on your mind? What you want to let the people know today?
Man, a lot of good stories. I got to start out with Shaquem Griffin, man. UCF linebacker running 4.38. That's blazing. I mean, he's such a great story. He loses his hand as a kid.
Yo, that's the only conversation for me in terms of this year's underwear Olympics, man. I hope that young brother has a tremendous career. I hope he makes every tackle. I hope he averages 12 interceptions a year. I hope he gets 4 sacks a year. I hope he forces 7 fumbles a season. All of that, except against my Eagles. And I really, really hope that we don't draft him somehow or he ends up on the Eagles so I don't have to slander him with one arm.
He's one of those stories, huh? You rooting for him in every way, but I don't want. No, Fred, go ahead. What you
I don't
saying?
want it.
'Cause not only the 40 time, he threw up, what was it, 225 about 20 times? With pathetic arm.
Which should be embarrassing to all of us on this phone because I can't throw up 225 but about 10 times, and I got 2 arms.
I can't throw up 225.
I mean, everything that he did is it's amazing. It's inspiring, and we have kids even going out drawing him pictures, showing how inspiring he is to them in their lives. So shout out to him big time. We all know how much the quarterback position matters to me. And when I look at this class of quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, Lamar Jackson, and then there's Sam Darnold. But, for me, I focus in on Lamar Jackson. They want to make him a receiver. They say he's a running back. He's a great athlete. By the way, he's a black quarterback, and that's always what happens. But he's a quarterback. He has the touch. His mechanics need a little tweaking, but we can work on that. He's a great runner of the football, but if you go back and watch the tape, he's not Michael Vick in the sense where every single time he snaps the football, he's looking to run. He's wanting to stay in the pocket. He's seasoned in a real pro-style offense with Bobby Petrino at Louisville, and he happens to run when he needs to run or extends plays when he needs to extend plays to make a throw down the field. Sound like Russell Wilson a little bit? Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, Fred. Real quick, just to interject a thought here. Those who are not deep followers of college football, and I don't profess to be an expert, but I know that Bobby Petrino runs a pro-style offense. And so the success that I've seen this young man have, understanding the nuances of the game and how quarterbacks are evaluated, I literally have to call some level of racism on this, or at least bias against this young man, because of all the quarterbacks out there that are quote-unquote athletes who are asked to switch positions, this guy comes from a pro-style program. If you're not familiar with Petrino, he runs an NFL-style offense in college football. Why would you want him to switch positions other than buying into stereotypes? But go ahead. I just had to get that off my chest because I've been seeing this around for the last few weeks.
I've been a supporter of Lamar Jackson since his freshman season, where he completely torched Auburn. As a freshman, he just obliterated them. He went from being a runner and that typical black quarterback to now becoming a really polished passer. The mechanics are not great. He needs to sit behind a really good quarterback. I would love for the Seahawks to go put this young man under Russell Wilson. I know it's not going to happen. Put him behind someone that's really good. Do not put him behind a Josh McCown or someone like that. Please don't put him behind a Joe Flacco. Put him behind a quarterback that can understand what he likes to do, extend plays, make plays in the pocket, out of the pocket, throwing down the field. Show some good touch after starting out really slow. That post corner, he nailed it. He nailed it. But on the other side of things, Sam Darnold didn't decide to throw at the combine. I have a problem with this. He's a competitor. I don't care that these receivers aren't your receivers. We all know this. We're all on a very level playing field. Look, be a competitor. Show me that you're ready to compete. Baker Mayfield, he did exactly what I thought he'd do, be a solid, accurate passer. Josh Allen, big arm. Everyone's they're enthralled with this big arm quarterback who's not all that accurate down the field, and in anywhere between 12 to 15 yards, that deep dig. Austin, I know you like the deep dig, so we know how you feel about putting that ball between the linebackers and the safeties, hitting that tight end over the middle, hitting that big body receiver over the middle for a very clutch first down. Josh Allen, that's not the guy you want to do this, but Josh Rosen might be the guy to do that because he is the prototypical star quarterback. But the problem is he's the other side of things. He's the thing that the NFL fears a little bit. He's a white quarterback with a brother's mentality, and because he wants to speak
Elvis
his mind,
Presley.
He says things like F Trump, and he has a hot tub in his room, and he's a little bit he's smarter than the coaches that are coaching him. He knows what he's doing. He's an elite quarterback, and that was something that we've known about him since his high school days when he was doing Elite 11 with Trent Dilfer. He's a little too smart for his own coaches, and he thinks he can fit every ball into every small space. But I'll take
like
Josh
Brett
Rosen over exactly. But I'll leave Brett Favre alone because I have thoughts on Brett Favre, and you may not like those. But moving on from the quarterbacks, I mean, this class is good, but it's not 1983 where you had Elway and Marino and all of those guys. That's not this class. But they're a solid class that can sit these guys, let them learn, give them a red shirt here.
You're talking sit them and let them learn. They don't do that anymore, Fred. That's not today's NFL.
I know.
They try.
It really makes
a couple of old school coaches out there who try, but yeah, it doesn't.
Even Andy Reid couldn't even let it. He tried. Andy Reid tried. He tried. But for me, it's the defensive side of the ball. I think this cornerback class is really good. Actually, the whole defensive back class is really good, as well as these pass rushers. Bradley Chubb, Deron Payne, who is a complete beast, Vita Vea, who ran a 5.1. And now 5.1 sounds very slow until you realize that he's about 6'5" and 347 pounds, and he's blazing at 5'1". And by the way, he played running back in high school, and he was maybe a cheeseburger over 295. So, and if you watch the tape when he played running back, he had a violent man's mentality. So, for me, when I look at these defensive linemen, I see guys that want to get after the quarterback, and then I hear Saquon Barkley at running back, and I see Trent Richardson and other busts. And I'm not saying he's going to be a bust, but I never want to even put the running back position into. I don't want to. I'm not saying he's Trent Richardson, but I will never encourage a team to draft the 15th most valuable player on your team. The only other player that he is more valuable than is your special teams kicker, punter, or long snapper. I never want a running back drafted in the first round, much less number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great combat.
I can respect that position, but don't invoke the name of Trent Richardson because that's like he's a blind man that played football. Like, don't do that to me. Like, why would you bring him up? And I don't think that Saquon Barkley is going to be an Ezekiel Elliott type of talent or ability at running back. I'm not. But I do think that he can contribute. He's a less, to me, he's a less flashy, more powerful Reggie Bush. I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see a guy that can touch the ball 15 times at running back. I think you're going to 15 rushes a game, 5 to 7 passes a game, 2 or 3 kick returns, maybe even throwing back there a punt return. He's not going to be 25 carries a game. He's not Leonard Fournette, but I think he's going to be relatively explosive in a positive way for the team that picks him up.
Because we were going to talk about this anyway, so we might as well keep Fred on to talk about Saquon Barkley and possibly the New York Giants. Like all the stuff that you just said, B, I agree with. Fred, stuff that you said, I agree with because the running back position has been devalued somewhat in today's NFL. So to draft a running back that high is a risky proposition when everybody's sharing backfields these days, and sharing these days don't even mean 2 good running backs. So now we subbing in 3.
I'll even go as far
Super Bowl
as
champion got about 4. But listen, because we always invoke the name. Wait, but we always invoke the name Ezekiel Elliott. But from all the stuff that you just finished listing, B, wouldn't that make Saquon Barkley pretty much the prototypical running back in today's NFL. Ezekiel is not really that. He gets the attention. Yeah. Gets attention, because he gets the rushing yards. He does run behind a very powerful offensive line. I'm not going to give them all the credit for him because he's the type of dude who, even when he's getting tackled, he falls forward for at least two yards each time, which is very valuable and, a valuable trait for a running back.
Yeah.
But with how,
right.
They're trotting him out today, wouldn't Saquon Barkley be more valuable
no,
than Ezekiel Elliott?
You're right. You're right from you're right from an analysis standpoint of what the NFL actually is, but unfortunately people's mind is actually behind where reality and present day is, because we still look at Adrian Peterson as kind of the gold standard. We look at Ezekiel Elliott, who's really an exception to the rule, as being the rule.
What has he done?
I'd even go as far as Todd Gurley might be an exception to the rule.
We look at those guys and we think back to yesteryear of 25, 30 carries a game, single back. We still use that as the standard, even though the reality is much different. So I agree. I think he fits in, and he probably is today's. He could turn into I don't know, a LaShawn McCoy without that wiggle. He ain't got that LaShawn McCoy got that Floyd Mayweather in the phone to shake you up. But he could turn into the prototype of today, but I don't think the average fan or even scout realizes what the true prototype is versus what yesteryear was, because they use the exceptions and history to gauge as opposed to the present.
Yeah, and
well,
when I look at how the NFL is going, these players, when it comes to running back, I would rather a Mark Walton and a Rashad Penny to do. They'll do 50% each of what Saquon Barkley will do as one player. But I'm also of the belief draft a running back once every year, because if you don't necessarily develop him, if he develops, you can flip him for more draft picks. And because his position is so injured position.
Fred, I respect where you're going, because I feel as though you're right in a sense, but you devalue the position, and I still feel like you have to give respect to the potential greatness of an athlete that could be a game changer at the position. I think you're looking at the numbers saying, the average running back's only going to last 4 years, and more than likely they come a dime a dozen. I'm still of the opinion that maybe Saquon Barkley is that game changer. He might be that Ezekiel Elliott. Chances are he's not, but he could be.
For me, when it comes to that, what I find is I look at the New England Patriot model. I look at the Philadelphia Eagle model, whether it was Andy Reid or
God.
Peterson, and I look at, I can have a James White, I can have a Deion Lewis, I can have a LeGarrette Blount, and a Rex Burkhead, all in the same package.
No. I can't let you do that. I can't let you do that.
You can't let me do that?
That's an exception,
I can't get away with
too.
that one? Okay.
That's an exception, too, because they take anybody that goes to the gym 6 days a week and can run a 4.640, and they just throw them back there, and it works.
Yeah.
But that's
any team
that's
can't
the
do that.
exception
That's
on the
not
other side.
But see,
the average team can't do that.
Fred is looking at that as a norm because he's a Patriots fan and he's used to seeing it. It is normal for him, but any team can't do that. So you need some kind of talent.
Not every team
I agree with you with
but
you might not want to waste first round high draft picks on running backs these days, but every team definitely can't go back there with that bunch that you just named and be successful.
Deion Lewis is a Hall of Fame Saturday flag football player. Saturday flag football player on anybody else's roster. Dude is not starting in the NFL.
Oh, no.
And the Patriots, but credit to y'all. You guys can find them and you guys can do that. But a lot of those guys from I'd say going back as far as maybe Corey Dillon. No, LeGarrette Blount. LeGarrette Blount is the only legitimate starting running back that you guys have had since Corey Dillon.
From the train station.
I want to say Lawrence Maroney, but I can't. I really can't.
Who?
I can't say Lawrence. I want to, but I can't. I can't with a straight face.
Why do you want to do that?
I don't. For me, this is just my.
I just made a joke. I just made a joke and I said who, but it took me like literally 20 seconds and I was already into the joke to remember who Lawrence Maroney really was. Yeah, like I really was saying who.
Yeah, I know. For me, and this is just my philosophy when it comes to drafting players, I don't touch a running back until about the 4th round, only because of the fact of the value of the position. Only because of the value of the position.
Yeah.
I've been talking to some Giants fans lately, and they're excited. They want Saquon Barkley at number 2. But I've also had a conversation with some of these guys like, right now, Saquon Barkley or a quarterback, and a lot of them have given me like a response surrounding the fact that they don't think that any of the quarterbacks out there right now are surefire day one starters, right? But when you have Eli Manning still at the helm, do you need a day one surefire starter, or do you need somebody that can learn under the tutelage of a pretty, good
the problem for them, Dev, and I got fooled. I got fooled last year, and I admit that I got fooled because I looked at all the weapons and all the skill positions. I looked at the defense. Their offensive line is effing putrid. Like it was terrible.
That in my preview of the season last year.
So B, are you saying
Saquon Barkley?
Are you saying they don't need a quarterback or running back? You saying they should draft an offensive lineman? I would say quarterback.
They need a football team.
Even though it was another regime, another coach, they obviously showed hints last year of eventually wanting to move on from Eli Manning. So, this would be the perfect time, in my opinion. But if you think, and they may think this because they thought this prior to last season, if you think you're just a piece or two away, which their record does not show that they're a piece or two away, then maybe a running back, of this caliber is what you go out and do. Now, I will admit, I've been
young man killed like that. Please don't.
I've been a staunch criticizer of New York Giant running backs probably since around the time Tiki stopped fumbling. Because Tiki, after he stopped fumbling, Tiki was a bad boy. But since then, I think their running backs have been a tad below average at best. So it's like if they know that's a criticism, they got a chance to go out and get one. Can you blame them?
I'm gonna keep it a million, and that's a great point that you made. There really is no difference between giant running backs and Patriot running backs other than the coaching. There's no difference. Like they're both from a talent perspective, they're both they're trash. But your system, Fred, is such that it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. Now, I would say when I look at the New York Giant line, like their squad, their personnel, there is playoff contender talent there, at least on paper, at the skill positions. But their offensive line, dog, their O-line and their linebackers need a lot of help. A lot of help, man. A lot of help.
All right, well, Fred, we're gonna hold you for a couple more minutes since combine and the couple of these NFL topics. We talked about the Giants and Saquon Barkley. The Philadelphia Eagles made a move yesterday in acquiring defensive end Michael Bennett and a 7th-round pick, and they send a 5th-round pick and wide receiver Marcus Johnson to the Seattle Seahawks. What do you think Michael Bennett does to the defense? You know, who I mean, I guess we can call them a Super Bowl defense because they were a big reason of why they got there, but they didn't play any defense in the actual Super Bowl. So what do you think Michael Bennett does?
Michael Bennett pretty much is going to be your situational pass rusher. Let these young pups get after guys and let him be the mentor. Let him be he's the guy that comes in and gives you that extra oomph because he can teach those techniques. He's a power rusher. He'll help a guy like a Derek Barnett out. He'll be a great help on 3rd down, obvious passing down, and he's won a Super Bowl and he's been back to a Super Bowl. So he knows how to win when it matters the most on a team that has won a Super Bowl and now has that experience. So these guys are going to be hungry. And unfortunately, I hate you guys because of the fact that we offered some more for this Michael Bennett that I wanted really badly, and you guys got him. So thanks for that.
You guys, we got him because he's not going to a Trump supporting team.
You are very right. You are very right. You're very right.
So
you're very right.
I would agree. I would agree with most of your analysis. I would offer this caveat. I think that Michael Bennett will be hungry, and I think that he'll want to compete for a starting spot. And I think that as a pass rusher, he's one of the better defensive ends in the league still at getting to the quarterback. He's very disruptive. Even when he is not sacking the quarterback, he's causing that collapse that you need. And so I don't know what he has left athletically as a 3-down lineman, especially against the run. But as a pass rusher, I still think he's elite.
To be a 3-down line. Take that defensive line.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that's the strength of the team, the fact that, you know, you come in with fresh legs on every play. Hey, but Fred, man,
that's true.
We're gonna be ramping this back up as the draft nears, as free agency comes up. Fred and I haven't been able to do it for our NFL or our college show because the network has been down for a while. But we will be back at you guys soon, and Fred's gonna be back in the mix on the War Room as well. Thank you, good brother, and we will see you in the near future, maybe even next week if something else big breaks by then. But we appreciate your call, man.
Most definitely, guys. Before I get out of here, I got to leave a little small piece of slander. You know I don't do it often. But when your father's an NFL player, and his name is Zeus, and you are his son, and you are 6'8", and you are 340 pounds, and you run a 4.85, and it is the 5th slowest 40 in the combine since 2003, and you can only put up 14 reps on the bench press, and yet you're an All-American. You need to shoot yourself. Just saying. I'm done.
All right, man. We all at you.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right.
Fred Dew, everybody, the hardest working man in college football. Obviously called us from the train station or something. Had the conversations, and somebody was getting at somebody in the background. Sound like they might have been clapping when they were talking to you. You know how that get. All right, but B, back to, you know, some of this NFL stuff, and the Seahawks in particular. You know, they're losing Michael Bennett. Word is that they're going to lease Richard Sherman soon, and Richard Sherman is letting everybody know he's ahead of the story because he's on Twitter, you know, talking about how he's basically not going to be back. His mom even tweeted something about him leaving the Seahawks. Stories are coming out that he went and told all of his teammates goodbye already. So leasing him is going to save the Seahawks about $11 million in salary cap room for 2018. We all know it's a business. You're going to have people out there talking about how teams aren't loyal, this and that. I don't believe in loyalty in sports. I mean, you got to do something really special to garner loyalty. What do you think about the Seahawks?
Shout out to Nick Foles.
Especially after his season-ending injury from last year. What are your thoughts on that?
Highly intelligent move by the Seahawks organization. You're talking about a premier quasi shutdown corner on the tail end of his prime. Maybe not the tail end, but definitely the end of his prime, suffering an Achilles injury. They're saying, number one, what are the chances of him returning to form as good, if not better, than what he was prior to the injury? Slim to none. We're paying him $11 million, and we're not going to get what we once had. Plus, by sheer virtue of his age, with every season that passes, it's more and more likely that he's unable to compete at the level we're used to. We need to get rid of him. We need to get rid of him. They're blowing up
him for trades, and nothing has really happened. Like, they're not getting any offers for him.
Well, I think people are in a wait-and-see mode, and nobody wants to take an $11 million chance on a guy with a blown Achilles. They want to see. So I think that he'll have no problem finding work, but not at 11. Not at
once
11
he's
million
out
off
there,
the bat.
he clears waivers. Teams will be chomping at the bit to get a cheap Richard Sherman. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the other.
Have to sign with somebody on the cheap just to prove that before he gets another big check.
Here's the other thing about that is the Legion of Boom is no more, obviously, because he's leaving, but they don't even know if Cam Chancellor can come back from his neck injury. Like, there's talk of the real possibility that he could be done or never the same player with the way that he plays the game. You don't have anyone on the other side. Salute to Byron Maxwell. I hope you get hit by a train, but you don't die. Salute to him. He's on the other side, so he's not much. Earl Thomas is it, and I feel like Earl Thomas is just very, very slightly starting to show a little bit of age. He's still probably the best in the business, but you don't have Cam. Richard Sherman injury is serious. There's nothing left there, and you're getting rid of Michael Bennett, so your pressure is going to be a little bit different. All that's left is really Bobby Wagner and Cliff Averill. I feel like they know that the writing's on the wall, so it's time to break that team down, and now what they're going to do is invest on the offensive side of the ball and try and come up with younger defenders that they can start over with on the defensive side. So that's what it's time to go out and get Russell Wilson some real weapons and see if he can honestly carry the team, because they invest nothing on offense. Salute to Doug Baldwin. We know he's an overachiever, but he's nobody's real number one receiver. And so now with that defense being blown up, they have the money to go after a real offense. That's what's gonna happen. Richard Sherman will land on his feet. The solidness in his game is he is not the type of corner who predicates his play on athleticism. Obviously, at that position, you got to be a great athlete, which he is, but he's not like Janoris Jenkins or Patrick Peterson, where he's just, I'll run a 4.3 40. I'm more athletic than everybody lining up on the other side of me. So it feels to me like technique and hunger and knowledge will get him through if he can return to at least 95% of what he once was athletically.
No doubt. And shout out to KC Mack and the War Room Sports Game Time group. He said Michael Bennett will play the role of DeMarcus Ware. I assume he meant DeMarcus Ware with the Broncos. And he said the female in the background is taking over your show. Yeah, I know. We got to tell Fred Purdue that. I don't know where he called in from. But, hey, when Peter King calls our
Stop
show,
bringing you back.
he don't call it with people screaming in the background. You know, man. Let's get a professional like Peter. Shout out to Peter King. People listening for the first time probably think I'm joking. No, Peter King really was on the show with them, and it was nice and quiet in the background. So looking at you, Fred. Let's take some calls real quick. We got Rob calling in from the west side right now. Rob, what's going on, good brother? You know,
What side? How about Nick Foles?
Yeah.
How about Nick Foles? Nick Foles.
Nick Foles hasn't been traded, so I'm good. That's going to be my first name of my kids, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Nicholas. But anyway,
Nicholas Foles Williams, huh? So what's up, man? What's on your mind?
On my mind, first of all, give James Harden's probably one of the worst defenders that ever lived that's going to win the MVP. You know what I'm saying? Beyonce can probably probably help me out on that. But,
he pretty much got that on lock. And any pressure that he may have felt from Anthony Davis probably went out the wayside when Anthony Davis fell on ankle last night. So, on his foot and twisted his own ankle last night. So, that'll probably slow Anthony Davis down. He was on like a historical pace in the last 2 weeks or so. But yeah,
better than
James,
LeBron.
He is,
in the past few weeks.
There's
better than everybody.
And Harden's from LA, so I got red minds. You know what I'm saying? You got two LA dudes running back to back. You know what I'm saying? So, also that's in the face of Beyonce, who called LA ballers soft. That's just me. You know what I mean?
That don't change. He's still soft. He don't play no defense. He's scared.
I wouldn't exactly. Yeah, Harden, I wouldn't, classify his game as, nothing but finesse. He's a finesse player. So,
wait,
I guess that's
and he's soft.
Not
soft because he
melts
Westbrook. Away. He melts away
Westbrook
like ice. He melts. Oh yeah, Westbrook different, but James Harden melts away like ice in the clutch. Like in situations in the playoffs, when real gangsters are sitting at courtside, he disappears.
I have also a few questions, but I got one particular. If y'all could talk about later on, a lot of people are making the argument, Kevin Durant or Julius Erving. I hope y'all discuss that, like when you get to the NBA segment, because there's been a lot of battling online about that. Also the combine. The underwear Olympics was good. That was really good this year. The DBs, we had a Caucasian DB run a 4.3. I've never seen that before in my life.
Jason Sehorn.
The world is changing, man.
He must have. I think Jason Sehorn and that kid must have been a milkman's baby or something. Like go to more. Like it's unreal. I'm like, what?
So what are people saying? People are saying Kevin Durant is already better than Julius Erving.
They're making a compare. Yes, basically either or, and I think it's very premature for it to make. However, Durant is at his peak. Some older guys would tell me like, first there was Julius, then there was Mike, then there or Mike got Julius. So
there's a lot of variables on the scale of greatness, and I'll be the first to admit, just because of the way the game has evolved, there's a lot of guys out here now, especially at taller heights, with dynamic skill sets that people like Julius Erving didn't have back then. At this point in his career, I don't think in any way does that make him greater or, rank him higher in NBA history, not yet, than Julius Erving. Now, if we're going to say, is Kevin Durant a better player than Julius Erving, that's relative. Because like I said, things change, things evolve. He has a better shot than Julius Erving. He has a better handle than Julius Erving. He can do a whole lot more, but has he had the same impact as Julius Erving? And he even has the advantage of being a part of the social media era. But relatively speaking, Julius Erving back then was a straight up icon. When communicating with the rest of the world wasn't nearly as easy. So no, I don't think Kevin Durant has surpassed Julius Erving on the all-time player list yet. But is he a better basketball player? Probably. But more to go.
Hold on, Rob. I like the explanation that Brother Dev just gave, and we're gonna give you some homework, Rob. You're gonna have to do a small essay for us. We don't have time for you to call back in on the show and deliver that essay, but in the GroupMe app or on the Facebook app, you can deliver it via the blog. Define the difference and compare and contrast between greatness and best, right? Great and best. So greatness or greater, that's accomplishments. What you have done with your career, with your skill, with your game, with whatever, what you've taken and accomplished, that's greatness, right? Best is actually evaluating just skill set, right? So I would say that Kobe Bryant is a better long-range shooter than Michael Jordan, even though their percentages from three are pretty even. That's because Kobe took ignorant and stupid shots because he knew he could make them, right? Mike didn't really work on three-ball shooting until it was too late. Had he worked on it, would he have been a better three-ball shooter? Probably, but that's the better argument, right? So we're talking about who's the better at something. Greatness is forged in iconic moments. And Dr. J has had far more iconic moments in his career and far more meaning to the game than Kevin Durant has at this stage of his career. Doc didn't have very much in the way of skill set. He was just a very smart player and a very athletic player, and those two married to make him great. He got it done. We'll see in terms of Kevin Durant, but amassing a whole bunch of stats in this day and age doesn't equate to greater to me. So I like to have that conversation about what's the difference between best and greater, or being the best versus being the greatest.
No doubt.
All right. I thank you. And I want to say two quick things before I dip out. For one, for those who don't like me, posting about my Eagles online, guess what? Take it like a man. You know what I'm saying?
Tell them EAD.
I mean, we're the world champions. I mean, I don't say nothing where, my man Tobias comes in with Roll Tide. You know why? Because they're a dynasty, because they're champions, because that's his team. I mean, yeah, listen, if people don't like me saying what I gotta say about my team, guess what? Don't get mad at me, get mad at your team, because your team is
exactly. You ain't got to explain yourself, Rob. Like I've been telling people lately.
Yeah, y'all got to talk to them people.
People telling me,
just laugh at them.
People tell me every day because championship gear has become a part of my uniform, and it's going to be that way for a while. People are saying, like, man, come on, man, it's been over a month. It's time to, it's time to chill. No, it's not time to chill, homie. I waited all my life for this. And, if you want me to chill, like Ron said, tell your team to beat mine.
Yo, he sound like Killmonger. I waited all my life for this. But, yo, But yo, I do want to say this. Yo, please don't listen to Fred Purdue when it comes to running backs. He said Ezekiel Elliott. I want to take one back at first round. Ezekiel Elliott won the first round, and his team went to the playoffs. He said Leonard Fournette wasn't. Well, I want to take in the first round, and he went to the playoffs.
You know what though? He's right. He's right though. He's right, and I wouldn't want to use the exceptions to the rule to create the rule. Like Ezekiel Elliott, as much as it pains me to say this, Ezekiel Elliott is scary, dude. Like he is somewhere between 1 and 3 in terms of best running backs in the NFL, and the distance between those top 3 backs and everybody else is worlds apart. So as a rule, I'm not taking a running back in the first round.
Rob,
I'm not.
You know how you can tell he's right though? Because it's really only happening like once every year. It's like the running backs you name, like one running back going in the first round or high in the first round, when that used to be the position that everybody coveted. So like B said, like you're naming the special dudes from the past 3 seasons. And you can't really name the absolute special dudes and then act like there's a problem with what he said, when everybody used to be out there clamoring for a running back, and they used to be sprinkled all over the first round. So it's something to what he said. You can name Zeke, you can name Gurley, you can name, Barkley, you can name Fournette, but there's probably going to be into the rule every year. There's going to be one on a good year, 2 running backs that go in the first round or in the first half of the first round. But it's the way they're playing football these days. It's a pretty solid way of thinking. The only thing where I think Fred may get in trouble is that he doesn't always talk about just the systematic, devaluing of the running back in the NFL. He starts to talk about the running back in general and calling them like overrated and stuff like that. I don't agree with that sometimes, because I didn't think Fournette was overrated. I don't think Saquon Barkley is overrated. Any of those guys. I just think their position has been devalued. So it's something that a lot of teams don't want to reach for.
He has something. He has something personal.
Ryan, we got to get out of here.
Personal against Fournette.
Wait. One more question, Dev. What's Brother Malcolm going to do with all that money he got from the NFL owners? I told you me sold out, Dev. I told you. I tried to tell you, man.
First of all, every man that says that, I used to think that people, it was jokes. But I'm starting to people really think that. People really think that the NFL gave him a bag of money. No, the NFL earmarked funds to go to black charities over the next several football seasons. I really thought it was a joke when y'all say that. But now I'm starting to realize that y'all really do think that the NFL gave for a check. He didn't get a check.
How is charities going to stop us getting gunned down in the streets? All right, but Superman, is he supposed to be the one to stop you from getting gunned down in the street? No, I'm talking why is that his responsibility? As a player protest, what they could tell them is listen, we want y'all to reach out to Congress and pass some bills on at least police reform, at least for more training. I'll be satisfied. Do you see how many times he's sitting with legislators? Why do you think one thing? Why do you think one thing is all somebody's doing? Because that's the thing that's getting the most attention. You've never seen Malcolm Jenkins sitting down with legislators? Why didn't he have Cole Kaepernick?
You didn't see him go to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania the day after a game to talk about that kind of stuff happening in Pennsylvania? You didn't. I really thought y'all were. It was on when we were talking about, got that bag. He gonna show up with a new whip. I was high with y'all. It was a joke, but I think y'all really think the league gave him a check.
Yeah, they really believe that.
No, I'm not talking about a check. I'm talking about what those funds. There are many things that it doesn't matter.
But Rob, is it more money than these system? The money these black areas. Just say yes, because there's nothing to think about.
Wait. I couldn't hear. What did he say? Repeat that.
Hold on.
My bad. I said
Is it more money that was your.
Yeah, I'm like, is it more money than these black charities would have been, on the hook to receive prior to this happening? Like, that's nothing to think about. The answer to that is yes. So it's
yes, but how? But the protest is against police genocide, right?
That was what Colin Kaepernick's protest was for, but if you can get more things done with one fell swoop, why is everybody hating? If you can look into more things with one, if you can knock down 6 birds with one stone, why don't you? Or at least not knock them down, at least throw some. If you can aim at some stuff, why does your whole life have to be predicated around one cause? I don't understand people, because if you don't do anything, then people are going to call you all kinds of names. You do stuff, people still call you all kinds of names. Like, why does his call, why does it have to be focused on one cause? Like, I really don't get that. And I really thought people were on joke time. Like, y'all really think this boy got a check, didn't you?
I didn't think he got a check. I didn't think he got a check.
All right, I'm making sure y'all on joke time. All
right, Rob, we got to roll,
I thought
man.
everybody was, but then it starts to sound like y'all serious. Like, all right, we'll see. But if anybody would have read the story and read what actually happened, like, you would realize this is not the time to be like, well, what did he do with all that money? First of all, they didn't get any money yet. There's money that's going to be set aside. If in the next 2 years you don't start to see commercials with the NFL and that are like geared towards causes that are a little closer to home for us, then you can start to ask, like, wait, what happened to all that money that was earmarked for that other stuff? You know how during the season you see a breast cancer commercial, and then you see what was the campaign they were doing, B, when Chris Carter was on the joint crying? Like, I forgot what that was. Was that like a Me Too type campaign or something?
It was a Me Too jump.
If you don't start seeing new campaigns that's focused around black causes, then you can start saying, yo, what happened to Malcolm, with all that stuff that they supposedly got.
I don't want to tie my cause with the NFL. I don't want to encourage more brothers to go to the NFL to get CTE. I want the money to go to freaking.
Oh man, right. Well then what are we here for? What?
But who said that they're encouraging people to go to the NFL? A Me Too campaign with Chris Carter's on TV crying ain't got nothing to do with encouraging anybody to go to the NFL.
Oh God!
A breast cancer awareness campaign is not telling people to go to the NFL. Like, I don't get what you're talking about. All right, but we got to go, man. We got to go.
Brother.
So we'll holler at you next week, man. Thanks for your call, good brother.
All right, yep, I'll take care, man. Yep, God bless you.
All right.
We appreciate you.
Yo, my bad, Tobias. Tobias done banged off the line. Rob took his time. We tried to get off the line. Rob kept yapping. He kept changing subjects and all that kind of stuff. Y'all know how it go. All right, so it's gonna be interesting to see what the Giants actually do with that number 2 pick. I mean, for real, if I were them, I'd start to field some calls for a lot of teams that's desperate to move up and get a quarterback, or desperate to move up and get a running back, and see if you can get more picks spread around those first few rounds of the draft. Maybe a team like the Giants, who thought they were going to be in a mix for a Super Bowl last season, can actually address some of those needs that are actually important to get them to where they thought they might have been. So I'm pretty sure that's something that they need to be evaluating as well. All right, stat of the week real quick. We got 2 teams in the NFL that's on fire in 2 different ways. We got the Utah Jazz.
In the NBA, NFL.
Oh, NFL, my bad. Yeah, the NBA. The Utah Jazz are on a 9-game road winning streak. So they beat the Pacers in their last game by a score of 104-84 in Indiana for their 9th consecutive road win. They were just 5-19 on the road before this streak began on January 24th. So this 9-game winning streak is the longest in NBA history for a team that began the streak with a road record at least 10 games under the 500 mark. The previous longest such streak was by the Phoenix Suns, who won 8 consecutive games away from home while entering the streak with a 5-25 road record. But, stats and analytics, go way too far these days. So it's one of those, this is the longest streak in NBA history for a team that won a game on the road on a Tuesday night that started at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But shout out to the Jazz, because basically, in a nutshell, what we're saying here is they stunk on the road, and now all of a sudden they've won 9 games straight on the road. And the biggest streak in the NBA, it's not a home streak, not a away streak, it's an overall streak. The Houston Rockets, who we will talk about a little later in the show, they beat the Bucks on Wednesday, and that extended their league-high winning streak to 17 games. However, this is the second time that Mike D'Antoni has led a team to a 17-game winning streak. He did it again with the Phoenix Suns back in 06-07. The only other head coach with multiple single-season winning streaks of 17 or more are the great Red Auerbach in 46-47 and in 59-60, and Phil Jackson with the 95-96 Bulls and the 99-2000 Los Angeles Lakers. So shout out to the Jazz, shout out to the Houstonian Rockets, who we will discuss in just a few minutes. So real quick, before we get into these grind topics and a couple of birthday shout-outs, you guys can check out our website at warroomsports.com. While you're there, take your time, look around, click on the Contact Us tab, send us a message about the company, the show, or to inquire about sponsorship and advertising opportunities, or joining the network, or any other business you might have with War Room Sports. For general inquiries, email us, info@warroomsports.com. While you're browsing the site, make sure you click on the memorabilia tab. We got a few T-shirts that you might enjoy, quotes from the shows, stuff like that. Small baller brand stuff. It's not going to cost you $60 for a T-shirt or $495 for a pair of shoes. We small ballers over here. But you can also click the blog tab to read our latest articles. You can click our respective icons and tabs to follow all of our social media platforms, to subscribe to the iTunes podcast, to watch our webcast at War Room Sports TV, and to download our free War Room Sports mobile app on Android or iOS. To get everything I just mentioned on the go, join the JW Philly Realty chat room right now during the show at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room. To enter the chat room, just sign up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. If you don't want to create an account, you don't have to. You can sign in through your Facebook and Twitter accounts, and while you're at it, make sure you click follow. That'll get you updates and reminders about the show. We'll be taking questions and reading posts from Facebook, Twitter, the chat room, the War Room Sports Game Time group on the GroupMe app. Anywhere you can get in touch with us during the show, we will post your questions and comments, or we will say them on the air. To call in and speak with us, you can dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted, but if you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to holler at us. All right, so what happened this week, good people, while y'all were on the grind? That's what we're going to talk about right now. And while you were on the grind, we're just going to get right into it, because while you were on the grind actually does not have a sponsor this week. I'm a little bit salty about that. So if you own a small business, call us. You can get a segment on the show sponsored by your business, and we will promote that for you. So holler at us with the information I just gave you. All right. While y'all were on the grind, boxer Jermall Charlo loses a literal bag of money at Jay-Z's 40/40 Club. This is not me talking slang saying, yeah, man, he lost a bag like he was gambling or something. No, he actually lost a bag of money. The New York Daily News reported that a friend of his left a Louis Vuitton bag unattended, which contained $40,000 in cash and about $115,000 in jewelry. An unidentified woman was seen on security footage with the bag. But listen, I dug a little deeper. I found out that they were in the club. They got into a little altercation. You can see video footage of Charlo taking off his shirt like he was getting ready to do some business. And one of his guys handed the bag to one of these women, a white woman, to hold the bag while they were about to go act childish in the club. I guess she either unzipped it, found out was in it, or just knew what kind of people she was dealing with, so she stepped off with the bag. So do you feel any type of sorrow for this dude? Because first of all, you know, like why are we living in these times? You know what I'm saying? You see Floyd do certain things, and then it trickles down to all of these wannabes. Like, if you're in a club partying, why do you have to have a duffel bag full of money and jewelry? Like, what are y'all changing jewelry every 5 minutes to impress somebody? Like, yeah, I'm going to reach in the bag, put this on, because the last time she saw me when I walked to the bathroom, I had this on. Like, what is the point of carrying a bag into a club with $40,000 and $115,000 worth of jewelry? Do you feel sorry for this man in any way?
I am actually sorry for myself, because if I would have known the woman, then, you know, we could have had a special sponsor for the show this week. But feeling sorry for these cats is outside of the realm of what I'm capable of. First of all, when you are a registered and licensed boxer, you can't get into altercations because your fists are considered deadly weapons. So what were you doing, Mr. Charlo? That's first and foremost. Secondly, there's an old maxim that states nothing good goes on after 1 a.m. Now, I don't know whether all of this happened before 1 a.m. or after, but I'm going to assume it was after, because when we were in our heyday, back in that city of brotherly love, we used to run across the bridge to Jersey, because Jersey stayed open until 5 in the morning. So I'm assuming that this was a after 1 a.m. event, and they should have been on their merry way home. And why, as you said earlier, why do you come out of wherever you came from with $40,000 in cash, and more importantly, $115,000 in jewelry? I'll tell you exactly why. Because you do it for the gram. You wanted to do it for the gram. You wanted to take pictures, and the great prophet John Jackson said, money ain't the root of all evil no more. Attention is.
Stupidity is.
And I leave
all right,
you
look,
with
this is not exactly a call-in segment, but we're going to go to the phone line anyway, because his brother was trying to wait it out when Rob was on the line. So we're going to go to Tobias out in Arizona. What's going on, Tobias? Roll damn Rob.
Roll damn Rob. You can't get rid of Rob.
Nah, we let Rob commandeer the show every week, man, because we started to say peace to Rob 2 minutes into the call, and he ended up on the line for 15 minutes. So my bad, because I'm usually the one that can just, you know, cut ties and bang on the dude. But
hey, I say these things real quick. First things first. The one thing I say, Rob, all Eagles fans, enjoy that championship. Keep posting, because it's so hard to win your team win a championship. Enjoy it.
Oh yeah. We know how hard it is.
Yeah. Now, and see, the thing is, remember I always said about the Eagles, team building, always making improvements. And this goes back to my whack-ass Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got the coach and the GM come off a 5-11 season, all of it on lame duck deals, right? What do they do? Nothing. We don't call it status quo in Tampa. We call it status woe. You got Robert Quinn, had for a 4th-round pick. You got the worst pass rush, worst defense of football. Don't do nothing. Michael Bennett. No, he passes prime, but he's better than what you got. Nothing, right? Then here's the best part about it. They're up here, and like Bucks fans are stupid. You hear about that rumor that the Raiders are looking to get Gerald McCoy for a second-round pick. And they're like, man, we can't lose Gerald McCoy. He's our best defensive player. One, he's 30 years old. We got the worst defense in the league with him. Take the second-round pick. you know?
No, fans get sentimental, man. We were talking about that whole loyalty thing earlier. Like, I don't expect any players. I don't expect any teams to be loyal to each other. Like, it's a business, So
yeah.
I mean, when we talk about players and what's like going on in the NBA, to me that's a little bit different because I'm not business decisions. I'm opposed to bitch acidness, but
yeah, and I'll say this, and I'll take it off the air. And I'll say this before, and I'll take it off, and I'll listen off the air. Y'all was talking about moments. See, the LeBron era, the Nick Wrights of the world, they turning basketball into baseball was all numbers. But we talked about the greats. We talked about their moments. We talk about what they did in the not even they stats. We don't know. But the thing is, you don't know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar stats. Most people didn't know Karl Malone's second in career scoring. People don't know stats. We talk about their moments. Michael Jordan shot against Cleveland.
How many moments about Wilt do we talk about?
The 100-point game. That's it.
Yeah. Other than that, we talk about
that's all
stat.
that's needed.
That's a stat itself.
That's
and
all
that's a stat in itself.
100-point game.
That's a stat in itself, though.
Yeah, and see, and to me, that's what makes basketball so great. It's moments. It's not about your numbers because you got your numbers, you still lose, you still lost, and that's why I hate when people they got a triple double, but they lost. It's about wins and losses in your moments, and I think that don't turn into the baseball.
It's about
but
both.
Hey, but you guys have a good one, though, fellas. I'll listen off the air, though.
All right,
appreciate it.
I'll let you. No, I mean, and Jimmy, what you said, that's kind of what I was explaining to Rob earlier when he called in. For me, and I think the way it probably should be, like nothing be dependent on one variable. There's too many variables that go into greatness. You know what I'm saying? You can't just look at stats, and you can't just look at the moments. You have to put everything together because, and this is how it came up, Jim. Cause, Rob called in and he was talking about how people were talking about Kevin Durant being better than Julius Erving at this point in his career. And, I fully acknowledge with the evolution of basketball and with taller players are able to do with the ball, shooting, dribbling, all that kind of stuff. Kevin Durant, I would easily say that he's a better, he has more skills than Julius Erving. He's probably at this point a better basketball player than Julius Erving ever was. But I don't think on the all-time greatest list, I don't think he surpassed Julius Erving just yet. You know what I'm saying? Because more than his skill set, more than his stats. You know what I'm saying? Julius was an icon before it was easy to be an icon because, he wasn't around when you could just talk to the whole world at the click of a button. But
because he has an influence. He has an influence, and he's probably one of the most influential athletes ever. But that's like different conversations in terms of better player and more influence. It's sort of like Eminem can rap better than Tupac, but does he have the influence of a Tupac? Hell no, never will. Tupac is probably the most the most culturally significant icon person it is. But from a technical standpoint, I can name 60 better, MCs. Now, relating it back to sports, so relating it back to relating it back to sports, I get the point. If I'm picking a squad today, I'm picking Kevin Durant 11 times out of 10 before I'm picking Dr. J. But I do understand and appreciate Dr. J's influence, what he meant to the game.
With respect. We respected Doc.
Yeah,
but you gotta pick Durant.
This is the problem with going across generations. But on the flip side, this is also why when you get the nerds into the game and they talk about stats, the reason they talk about stats are because these technically are the only things that are facts. Now, I get both sides of it. So I understand, like, you know, the moments, the
But
story.
it's also a fact that...
Also the context, because there's no context to statistics.
Right.
But...
I was about to say, because it's also a fact that they're not playing against the same people. It's fact that they're not playing with the same rule book.
Exactly. Which is why it's difficult to do. Which is why, you know... Which is why I solved all this before about the table of guys. But the fact of the matter, the great thing about it is the comparisons.
Y'all got to go get that book.
Because
y'all will understand why these conversations are not even necessary anymore.
Because they're really not. They're really not. But at the end of the day, I get it because it's what makes sports beautiful is the ability to do that. It's kind of like what brings us together because the older generation in my family, like a lot of us, spent time arguing your generation versus mine. And now I find myself as sort of the elder statesman arguing with the young boys, but I get it. This is life. I remember arguing Magic, Michael, and Larry versus Russell and fill in the blank. You know, whoever they want to say Oscar. Now, you know, LeBron, Durant versus the guys that I grew up watching. So this is just what happens. You know what I mean? Like, but the fact of the matter is, you'll never really be able to understand what happened. But I get the whole statistics thing because data it runs the world at this point at every level. And
but
the way they look at it is, these are facts. These aren't, he looked better than him, jumped higher than him. Like, this is a fact that he scored fill in the blank, 22.7.
Doesn't that degrade the game a little bit? The impact of what you're saying as it injects itself into not just the conversation, but the game itself. Doesn't that impact the quality of the game or the sport?
Well, it depends on how you take it as a fan. Are you talking about how they played, or the flip side is how you take it? Because a lot of times when I hear people who come on our page or whatever, they're always talking about Nick Wright said this. Well, I don't watch Nick Wright. Really?
You said you don't what?
What I was saying is, a lot of people come on our show talking about Nick Wright said this and Nick Wright said that. Stop watching Nick Wright. I mean, it's real talk.
I don't watch gay blue movies.
So my thing is, obviously you like what he's saying because you want to argue with him every day. I don't watch the stuff, so for me, I don't care that they do that. Now, in terms of how the game is played, if it's changing the way the game is played, that's something else. But this is a difference between science and art, right?
That's true, though, Jimmy,
so
because every Nick Wright clip that I've ever seen, the reason why I know Nick Wright and why he's Nick Wright is because every time he says something, I'm sent a clip by somebody who doesn't like Nick Wright. So I'm like, yo, why
like,
you always?
Y'all obviously do like it. Yo, I have never. I
don't watch any of those shows. I've never seen that show.
Radio. I watch the games and form my own opinions. Like I really have never watched Shannon Sharp show one time. I've never watched Nick Wright show one time. First of all, I'm trying to tell you, why y'all home watching them anyway?
Yeah, Skip Bayless, this show or his last show on ESPN. Like I've never watched more than 15 minutes of that show, and that probably was, it had to do something with something I love. You know what I'm saying? Like I watched a few more minutes of these shows when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, just because I wanted to see what everybody was saying.
Basically,
I do watch YouTube clips. I watch YouTube clips because I spend like 90% of my day on YouTube.
Y'all basically.
But I gotta be sent them.
Bayless.
Bars.
I see what you did there. But the point is, in terms of how it's affecting the game, though, B. Austin, that's where you have a mesh between like science and art, because kind of the argument we're having, because what they're using is data science to make decisions, and what we respect is the art. So it's like a clash of the two things happening. You'll always have old school coaches that don't care about that. But the fact is, the success of, a Houston Rockets will determine what everybody else does. So if it never works,
James Harden,
it'll
shoot more threes.
Play less. Right, well,
run and shoot offense was based on didn't work.
Yeah, pretty much. But speaking of players with great stats, great skills, and great moments, Kobe Bryant, he won an Oscar for the animated short film Dear Basketball, which was basically his letter to basketball in the Players Tribune as he was retiring. But there, like we said it was when he first got nominated for this, it has caused an outrage, a huge stir from the Me Too community, and there has been a petition for Kobe to get his Oscar taken away from him, and this is all because of the sexual assault allegations that he faced back in 2003. I've heard a lot of people, condemn him this past week. I've heard a lot of people defend him this past week. It's a slippery slope, especially now in these times. But this is nothing that we didn't call, fellas. When we first heard that he was nominated, we knew it was going to be crazy, just being nominated. But now the fact that he's won the Oscar,
Colorado.
So, what are y'all thoughts on this whole thing? Everybody talking about they should take his Oscar back and all that kind of stuff.
Yo, I think it's the most ridiculous. I think it's the most ridiculous thing out there right now. And when you look into that case and kind of what happened there, I can't be the judge of what he did right or wrong, other than the infidelity to his significant other. Like I don't know. I don't know. Even in hindsight, looking back at that case, there was so much that went on with the alleged victim, and her behavior, and it's like I just don't know. I think that he obviously, there was some impropriety there. He has repeatedly apologize for it and express his remorsefulness. I don't know, man. And I think that to bring it up now and to say that he shouldn't have an Oscar, that's kind of like my argument for Bill Cosby. Just because he was sneaking the Jell-O pudding pop forcefully upon people, I don't think that robs him of his space. In history. I think you have to give context around that and talk about it. So we're having the discussion and the dialogue, but he definitely shouldn't have to give up the Oscars. Like, that's crazy.
Do you think he should have just paid her off like she do?
Tell me how I have to.
All right. But all jokes aside, I actually put thought into this because I'm a loser and I spend time thinking about stuff like this. But I look at how Kobe has responded to that whole situation in that time and everything that he's done since then, in terms of what at least what we're shown, in terms of him being a family man, being very apologetic and putting his forefront and trying to do everything with his family back together. And I juxtapose that to like when OJ got off of something that he did, his behavior
then he just
like
wowed
turned
out.
up. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know what happened in Colorado that night, but what I do know is his response to going through that is he did everything he was supposed to do on the court and off the court. And I also want to congratulate him for doing that because I think that's an amazing accomplishment. I think he's bugging a little bit when he said more than
I know OJ going back to jail at some point. We know
that.
But my point
you're
is
talking about now, you mean OJ going back to jail as an old man, like within the next 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about now. Like, OJ's going back to jail. He just got out like a couple months ago, but like Jimmy said, he got in trouble, and then he just either he showed his true colors or he just wilded out.
So it's sort of like I try to see people's response to adversity. Not saying that Kobe didn't do it. I don't know what happened. None of us know what happened. What we know is it was only an accusation. The chick took the bag to leave it alone, but I don't want to victim blame her. I'm not gonna get into what we all said about her behavior. With having like 3 or 4 different types of semen in her. I'm not getting into all that, but what I will say is his response to it was the way that you would want someone to respond to it. What he's done since then, like I said again, what we're shown, we don't know what really goes on. Has been one, and also it's like
shut up.
It's getting to the point where I'm all for women's rights. I'm for Me Too. I love women. I think what's going on in terms of them basically taking power in this country is actually an amazing thing. But at the same time, some of these situations, I just saw today that a bull got locked up for something that happened 50 years ago. Now, and
lining
again,
people up. Like everybody, we think we living our best life. Something gonna come back on Something y'all did in college gonna come back on you.
Yo, all I'm saying is,
one of y'all going down.
I'm not even putting that out in the air. All I'm saying is, it's getting a little bit out of control. But you know, I mean, things happen. It's just unfortunate that I mean, it's the world we live in. But everybody has a voice. Social media. Everybody, and I want everybody to have a voice, but at the same time, everybody shouldn't have a voice. If that makes any sense, because people take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's just one of them things saying, everybody has the mind capacity, or everybody should have the mind capacity to have a voice, but some people just stupid and they shouldn't talk.
Because a lot of people don't think these things. When you sit and try to have a conversation with them, they jump on the bandwagon.
You shouldn't talk right now unless you want to,
Like, yeah. I'll say why. Like, if you ask some of those people that were on Twitter,
are you talking out of turn?
Why do you feel that way, right? And they say, I don't know. People join into movements and this cosign without putting any independent thought into what they're doing. And this is not just Kobe, but just in general. And I forgot the term that Dev always uses about like when everybody joins in and makes someone their job, or people join into whatever you
groupthink.
Yeah, the groupthink goes so crazy. It's so fast these days, boy. Some things are egregious.
No different.
Like,
there's no difference between human beings in today's society and lemmings.
Yeah, I remember we used to say that a lot on this show. We talk about lemmings. That would be awesome. He'd always talk about lemmings.
Yeah, that's his word.
Before white supremacy was his tag word, lemmings used to be his tag word.
His new word, white supremacy before was lemmings.
Call everybody lemmings. You need a lemming bell. All right, the Bull Canelo Alvarez, who is scheduled to fight in the rematch with Gennady Golovkin, he's tested positive for the banned substance clenbuterol. Now, he and his camp has said they're blaming this on bad cows for meat that they've been eating down in Mexico.
Yo, he could be a baby vegan,
He basically blaming it on Mexican meat. Pulls that all day. But do y'all believe this, or do y'all think Canelo Alvarez is a dirty drug user?
Not.
Boxer? Steroids? No, that would never happen.
It was bad meat, yo. Come on. But listen, it said. Listen to this, because I'm gonna give y'all a chance to either say that maybe he has a point, or I'm gonna give y'all a chance to basically slander the whole country of Mexico. It says clenbuterol has shown up in drug tests for many Mexican athletes in recent years because of meat contamination in the country. Alvarez also said meat contamination caused his positive test. So maybe knowing that, he jumped on that bandwagon. Like, man, it's not a known fact, but it's been rumored that we got bad meat. We got I don't know, man. I'll find that out. But y'all think he jumping on the bandwagon?
My question is, when y'all president saw this, I wonder what his response was.
He let it.
He's going to use this.
Now he's going to want y'all to build a wall around all their farms now, so their cows can't get over here. So we won't all be walking around with clenbuterol in our system. I ain't gonna lie to you. I have no clue what the hell clenbuterol does. And a lot of these things, they don't tell you what they do. It's just on the ban list, like. And as soon as you see somebody, because they're gonna call it a steroid. As soon as you see it, people are gonna be like, "Oh, such and such is a cheater," but you don't know what clenbuterol does. It can make your nose stop running. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who knows? But that's what's going on before that fight.
Clenbuterol.
I hope it doesn't have any effect, though, because that's a fight that I was looking forward to last year, and that's a fight that I'm looking forward to this year. All right, and last
Look,
but
man,
not least,
defense is optional.
Give Triple G clenbuterol, now we all even.
right. Last but not least, last week while y'all were on the grind in Cleveland Cavaliers camp, J.R. Smith was busy throwing hot soup at assistant coaches. He was suspended last week for the game against Philly. That's why they lost, because J.R. wasn't there. Excuses. So he was suspended for that game for throwing a bowl of soup at assistant coach Damon Jones. I don't know what the altercation was about, why he decided to throw his chunky at the ball, but is that worth more than one game? Maybe you get one game because you missed, but if you scald somebody with hot soup, you should probably or the Cavs is telling you how important Damon Jones is to their operation.
I'm biased, so I think that he shouldn't have been suspended because it was no. I don't think he should be suspended for throwing soup on Damon Jones. Why he should
you think he should be commended and not suspended?
Commended.
First off,
that's a commendation worthy.
I need more information, though, because first of all, what soup was it? Because I think that soup overall is an underrated food. Like, soup is fire.
Soup is an underrated food, man.
I'm a fan of, like, New England clam chowder. I like potato soup. You know what I mean? A good vegetable soup is good.
You know why, Jim? Because soup, like, chicken noodle soup is so popular, but that's really one of the weakest soups you can get. Unless it's like homemade and somebody put their foot up in it. But if you're just getting some canned chicken soup, that is garbage.
That's trash.
But there's some other soups out there that bang.
I'll tell you, like a great tomato soup is fire. Like, New England clam chowder, a great New England clam chowder is fire. There's a lot of fire soups out there, man. Like a good vegetable.
Crab
like
bisque,
a lot of these
lobster bisque.
Oh man. Come on, cuz.
Yo, I'm about to go get some soup.
No, lobster bisque is fire. So I think, first of all, we need more information. You know what kind of soup he threw. If he threw a lobster bisque at Damon Jones, then obviously Damon Jones deserved it because
you're not gonna
understand the beauty of lobster. You're not going to waste a lobster bisque.
Right.
Now, if he threw chicken
if he threw some chicken noodle,
one-game suspension.
Yeah, if he threw some chicken noodle at him, then he was most likely overreacting. He was overreacting.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he was just showing off for somebody. Watch me throw my soup at this nigga.
You don't think before you got a lobster biscuit, you gonna think a couple times.
I respect y'all. Yeah, I respect y'all perspective on soup and cuisine in general because we are experts when it comes to food. But I think you guys are really diminishing the value of the conversation and understanding how. This is Damon Jones, though. Do you know how much of a noodle Damon Jones is?
You're right though.
Jones.
And noodles can get on your nerves. And I like what you did there about him being a noodle and the chicken. But noodles can get on your nerves to the point, and that's why Jimmy is giving him the benefit of the doubt. Like if he threw a lobster bisque at him, that's because Damon Jones is such a noodle, and noodles can get under your skin from time to time. So if he was worth throwing a bisque at, then whatever he did, he deserved it, and he probably didn't deserve to get suspended.
Y'all know we're not even joking when we say this. Y'all can laugh. Damon Jones is an assistant coach, and he still does handshakes with LeBron.
Because LeBron is the reason he's an assistant coach. He do whatever the hell LeBron telling him.
I was going to say the same thing, yo. Shout out to John Appetit. Y'all need to start showing Soup some love because Soup is underrated. But Damon Jones
if your man, if LeBron told him to get his towel and have it ready every time he come out of the game, like there's nothing he can say about that. You do it.
LeBron, right? We talk about all the greats that LeBron has done off the court in terms of putting people in position to feed their families, his friends sending him to school, getting him executive positions. But how about all the people who play within the league that LeBron keeps with a job? You know what I mean? He has somebody else paying him salary for no other reason.
Jones,
Tristan
Thompson, Dante Jones. I think LeBron is a Jones, like in his family. Like I know he's LeBron James, but he got the Dante Jones will straight up tell you, I have no ability other than to defend, punch, beat people up, jump high, and LeBron kept me employed. Like, he'll straight tell you.
But it's cool because LeBron used to
about
pay his fines. So he would goon it up for Brown, and Brown would pay his fines. But no, y'all exactly right. He definitely, he bothered some people in the league.
On and off the court, LeBron has put more money in the black community than a lot of athletes, and he's done it in ways that a lot of times we don't give him credit for, because he's helped a lot of
Damon
people.
Damon Jones was a 3-point specialist that only shot 35% from three.
And this how gangster LeBron is about his business, though, because he will do that for these dudes, and then midway through the season, after he got these dudes paid, he'll talk about how his team is trash and he need more help. After he forced your hand to pay these dudes, LeBron's like, yo, I need help, man. These dudes is garbage, yo.
But here's what's amazing, right? We talk about the evolution of the game, right? But there's also like an evolution in the athlete where LeBron understands his and he leverages that ungodly. But I want to know, like, because LeBron is standing on the shoulders of, say, a Michael Jordan. And I don't think that Mike, at least the beginning of his career, recognized his power and didn't leverage it the way LeBron is. But what's going to happen in 10, 15 years from now when guys know their power?
Yeah. No, I mean, because in 10, 15 years, somebody's going to look at all of this stuff, and they're going to come in at 18 years old with a LeVar Ball type plan, and is going to execute it the right way because of their popularity, and it's going to be over. Like, you're going to be a billionaire by like the 6th year in the league.
They're going to ask,
the problem.
What?
The problem I have with this, and Jimmy, I already know Jimmy doesn't agree, but I feel like it diminishes the quality of the game, man. Like, it's not.
No, I understand your argument.
Away because they know and understand. They understand their value, and on one hand, to have the autonomy and the savvy to leverage that, I respect it. But as a fan of the game, these guys don't care about what it is that I love to indulge in and watch. And
I totally
feel
get
like
you.
it hurts the game.
But I don't know where the happy medium.
I don't think you agree.
I just don't know where because I don't know where the happy medium is. Like, it's like athletes have been exploited. So when the game was like, I guess at apex for us, the athletes for most part, like Michael Jordan exploited the beginning of his career. Absolutely did. Mike was making like $500,000 a year when they were probably making that on one game, because of his talents. So I don't know where that happy medium lies where, you know what I mean? I think that's up to the athlete to still have that fire in them, sort of like a Tom Brady, where he still cares.
No,
even
the only one, the only one in the NBA that cares is a cross-dresser. Like Russell.
Yo, and
Casey
Mack, we talking about clenbuterol, not albuterol. He said albuterol helps breathing for asthmatics. Yeah, I know that.
My kids take that.
I was about to say, I just refilled my son's prescription for albuterol. We talking about clenbuterol, however you pronounce it. But yeah,
albuterol sounds
it's
like
not clen, it's clenbuterol. CLE. Buterol.
Albuterol sounds like a crooked music executive.
He said it's still in the breathing family though. So clenbuterol is still in the breathing family.
They're helping the cows breathe.
Which I can't. Yeah, I'm like, how you get that from a bad cow though? Because I can see how somebody would cheat in boxing to help you breathe better. Because I don't know, everybody who has judgment for all of these dudes. I don't know if y'all ever tried to step in the ring and box. Man, you need all kinds of stamina to do that. It's crazy.
I can't flat box for like more than a minute. Be awesome though.
You're right, time out, man. You have a halftime in your slap box.
Hold on.
5 to the head. We need halftime.
Getting back to your point, because I think it's an interesting conversation. So where is that happy medium? On one hand, I know you don't want like our brothers and sisters to be exploited, but at the same time, you care about the art and the love of the game. So, but I don't know. I personally don't know what that medium is. So it's not that I disagree with you.
That's a great point. And as much as you take issue with Fed, I feel like Fed cared. Like even though he got it all back in the last 3 years in the NBA, because in the last 3 years he made like $60 million in salary in
No,
more.
I think he got 30 per at the last 3, but I don't. But my thing is, he did care. But I think that he was one of those guys, like I just mentioned, to Tom Brady and Kobe, who literally have a sickness. So
yeah, he's a weirdo.
Guys,
You're right.
Like,
he's a weirdo. Yeah, he's a weirdo.
So he's an outlier in that respect. And yes, it's a difficult thing to care when you're given so many riches so fast and you're leveraging your power. But I think that it's up to the athlete to care. That's the only thing I can say.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, because the issues start now in the AAU ranks. Like the way the game is viewed and the privilege that kind of comes with it. Even guys that don't necessarily make it to an NBA stature, the privilege they receive on the AAU circuit, it's not really about the love of the game and competing and being better.
That's a great point. But you know what, Beyonce, hold that point, because we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA and the move they're getting ready to make, and I think we're going to jump into that conversation as we start it now. So hold that point.
No doubt. I'm going to just throw some quick birthday shout-outs real quick. Birthday shout-outs for this week. Shout-out to the homie Hines Ward, who turns 42. We've had many of discussions and debates online about whether or not Hines Ward will end up in the Hall of Fame, or whether we will put him in our Hall of Fame at least.
Shout out to Joe
Encarnacion, for all you baseball heads out there. He turns 42. Damn, I'm old. Jason Elam is 48 years old today. Kickers need love, too. Kenny Smith, who we should see tonight on Inside, Outside, and all around the NBA. Funniest show on TV, in my opinion, at least one of them. He turns 53. I wonder if Kenny likes to party, so I wonder if he's even going to be at work. He probably will, because they can just party afterwards. Stay in Atlanta. And shout out to Buck Williams, who turns 58. So we like to give a War Room salute to all of these folks on their birthdays. Check out our website at warroomsports.com to call in and speak with us about NBA topics that we're about to discuss. Dial the Digital Extreme Tech Hotline, 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. Let's talk about this thing of ours, the NBA. You got it, Jim, or you want me to get it?
Yeah. We got the brother on the line. I want to introduce the topic first, because I also want to get Naj's opinion on this topic. So I'll jump right into that topic, which is what B. Austin was bringing up. We'll go back to the other ones, but what B. Austin was bringing up about the NBA and this whole concept of the players recognizing their power and how it affects the game, because Austin, the NBA is getting back in business with high school players. So they're making some decisions. Well, it sounds like they're going to knock VAR the box in terms of his decision to start his league, and pretty much do what's actually mentioned in Sports the Book. So I think the commissioner wrote a book, but which is saying that you invest in the, back then it was the D League, now it's the G League, because they sold out the corporate interests. But you invest to give a livable wage to some of the players that can't jump right into the NBA, but kind of build up a minor league system, but allow people not to go through that one which we know is a joke of college basketball.
Now listen, Jim, with this proposal on the table, does this put LeVar Ball's league out of business before it's even, before it even starts?
Yeah, it was out of business the 2 seconds after it came out of his yellow tooth mouth. I like it. I like it, and the funny thing is there's so many layers to the conversation, and it's like, so when you look at it's funny because Jimmy and I, we've had these conversations. Dev and I, we've had these conversations, and then collectively on the show, it's like, okay, so there's no minor league to develop NBA players, NFL players, and they're forced to go the NCAA route
Well, at least not a professional minor league where they're going to get legal money.
Right.
Because some of them get
Right.
money, but
And
they don't get legal money.
When you look at other sports throughout the world where it's not predominantly African American, there is no siege on the economic interests of young men trying to pursue their dream in the sport. Soccer, for God's sakes, you become a professional at. You become a professional. I'm attacking white supremacy. You become a professional at damn near 13 years of age. You can become a professional athlete. Even basketball in Europe, you can become a professional at 14. So why is it legislated against becoming a professional basketball player or football player here in America in predominantly African-American sports? They don't do it against baseball. Baseball, you can get into the minors at, I believe, at 16. So I think that this is high time. It's high time for this to happen, for it to come along. But now the impact on the game, I don't want to see 17 and 18-year-olds running around in the main NBA unless they are truly ready for it, which would have been like, LeBron, maybe. He was
LeBron
the
and LeBron.
And LeBron, yeah.
You said maybe. He did it.
So
he's done it.
But I don't want to see
there was
a whole lot of that.
Yeah, LeBron.
I
think Stat was a good rookie right out of high school. Standing tall and talented.
I don't remember Stat as a rookie. I remember him as a younger player, but I don't remember how. I gotta go back and look at him as a rookie.
I thought Stat was the best rookie out of high school, until LeBron.
Before
came.
LeBron. Moses.
I thought Stat had a better. Well, at least I remember him having a better. I remember Stat having a better rookie year than KG. KG had bigger expectations, but.
Let me go look at Stat's numbers. I can't look at his moments, but I can look at his numbers at least. I can check out his stats. Look up stats.
I remember having that notion, man, LeBron, the last dude I can remember that played like this as a rookie out of high school was the Bull. But Stoudemire might have been 26 when he graduated.
So if the NBA,
he didn't have a LeBron season. He averaged 13 and almost 9, but he played pretty well.
Oh, that's tough.
That's solid.
Yeah, that's tough.
And he started 71 games.
If the NBA and corporate interests really invest in developing this minor league system and take it seriously, I think it could be great for all stakeholders involved. I think it could be a great thing where it's
college basketball.
Here's the flip side real quick, y'all, before y'all get into that. Garnett averaged 10-6 and started 43 games. So he had those expectations, but they tried to bring him along slowly. But my bad, go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, be awesome.
Nah, Stat got him. But
and then LeBron came out and averaged like a dud. Shut all that up.
Yeah, LeBron got busy. But I think it could be a good thing, and I believe that it's high time to take it seriously because it basically has robbed generations of potential professional athletes from pursuing their dream. And I think that there's been an unfair impact on the African American community as a result of that. So that's my take.
Well, a couple things. For one, Mo averaged 19 and 15 straight out of high school. But again, we always talk about how Moses is probably one of the most underrated players of all time because he's an MVP of the league. MVPs Moses got. You know?
My bad. All right, you want to get Naj on the line?
Yeah. I don't know if y'all heard what I said about Moses, though, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay, what I was saying is looking up Moses averaged 19 and 15 coming straight out of high school as a pro. But again, Moses is one of those guys who we all believe to be one of the more underrated. I mean, he's a 3-time MVP. We never talk about him when we talk about him.
Never talk about him.
So salute to Moses.
That's kind of a
and I
travesty.
apologize again. Y'all know I'm apologizing to Moses, but I apologize again. But let's get Naj on the line, man. Get his opinion on what we're talking about with the NBA. Naj, what's up, good brother? How you?
I'm good, man. Good to hear from y'all. Y'all laying it down as usual. Y'all fans are not the same fans as the starters, and we will fight them whenever they're ready. Because
and that's what she said.
Talk about.
Yeah, we actually know them cats. We met those cats.
Yeah, that's
before.
the crazy part.
Square up.
Before they were on NBA TV.
We better than them.
Square up analytic boys.
Yeah, they definitely are.
But no, y'all hit.
But what do you think about the NBA? What do you think about the NBA and this whole situation with getting in business high school players and what's it mean for the, if anything?
All right. The name I wanted to add, I think, is Spencer Haywood. I think he was the same situation, straight out of high. Definitely check that because I could be wrong. But going into what y'all saying, like LeVar Ball, he couldn't have done this. Just the logistics, the ability to get sponsors that wouldn't be competing sponsors with the NBA or wouldn't see working with him as a detriment. So he couldn't even pull this off. That was pipe dream talk from a crazy man. But the NBA, I got a reluctance on this because it's real good to talk about things and say you're going to have committees and all that, but then seeing it through is a whole nother story. If y'all remember the Miami Dolphins anti-bullying committee, y'all heard about them meeting up anytime? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So,
after that Jonathan Martin stuff. Yeah, I ain't heard about none of that.
Yeah. So I think the NBA understands how wrong this is and how the turn has come, and everybody understands this now. I used to rail against the NCAA, and people would look at me like I'm crazy. Now that's a normal opinion. Like, people understand how exploitive it is. So I think they're going to get some good press for a while and maybe some headlines, but I really doubt the NBA sees this through. But it'd be a beautiful thing if they did it, man. And not only is it restorative justice to the black community, but it also would stop the slush fund that these other communities have been operating off of, living and eating off of all of these decades off of their talent.
You know, it's crazy, right? There's a book, it's called The Cartel, about the NCAA. Because it's not just that they're exploitative, like, it's not just the buzzwords and things that we say. When they actually break down some of the stuff that the NCAA has done behind the scenes, you start to really understand just how dangerous and how just criminal they are in terms of trying to keep this free labor going. And to your first point about Spencer Haywood, I just looked it up. He actually came out as a sophomore college. But at the time, the rule was you had to wait till your class had graduated. So that was still like a bucking the system because he came out after the second year and no one.
He averaged 30 and 20 as a rookie, man.
He averaged 30 and 20 though.
He averaged 30 and 20 as a 20-year-old rookie, man.
My God.
Yeah.
Come on, Spencer. Stop playing.
That's ridiculous. But yeah,
it's crazy how these dudes' careers iron out though, because his career numbers end up being 20 and 10, makes him look normal. But his first few seasons weren't normal,
yeah, it's normal. But he regressed to the mean. But in the beginning, sheesh.
That wasn't normal at all.
But I just wanted to hit just real quick. That NCAA point, it's just that huge talk that everybody eats out of, from the athletic director to the board to, the construction companies who come build the buildings, all the way down to your local bar where it's damn near a fight with the wait staff over who's going to work the Georgia game on Saturday. Like, everybody's getting money except those who should get it. And, there's a 4-star guy somewhere now realizing, dang, they was giving out and they ain't getting that. So even the underground part of it is exploited because they were only paying certain ones. You mentioned Kobe earlier. Look, we all don't know if Kobe did what he was accused of. He was guilty of one thing. In a unfair, you take advantage of it, not only because it's wrong, but also because you're putting yourself at risk. You're a multi-million-dollar basketball player. This is hotel staff, and for anything, no matter what. So the situation already, you know what I mean, man.
Now you breaking up a little bit, like
Oh, my bad. Well,
it's like every other word.
Marital indiscretions, you know what I mean? It's already a bad move all day, every day, because it's like teacher-student. You don't upset the apple cart with power dynamics like that. So Kobe made that mistake. Now the analytics stuff, y'all didn't hit on it hard, but man, they're taking the art out of the game. That's another thing that happens with the 3-point shot. I'm damn near with Bob Ryan, where I'm like, move the line back or something with these threes because it's come too easy. Now everybody's running pin downs for your shooter. If he doesn't get a clean look, swing it, do the same thing on the other side, and the game is becoming like, watching NBA 2K or something. Like you're taking the art out of it.
I mean, and the whole it's like everybody can shoot threes now. So you're kind of devaluing the legacies of like Reggie Miller and all of those dudes back then because now everybody does this. Like,
man, you devaluing everybody who's ever played in the post. The post game is gone. But Naj, before we get you out of here, I got one question for you, man, because this is what we're going to talk about once we let you go. Is do you believe in the Rockets at all in terms of their ability in the postseason? Do you believe in them?
Well, I was the one championing them before the season as a legitimate threat because you bring in CP3 and now you don't run hard into the ground during the regular season and you go into the playoffs with a legit shot. Now they're going to have to shoot like some ungodly 57, 55, percent from three in a series against Golden State to win. Like they're going to have 4 ridiculous shooting games to win. But they got a puncher's chance, and that's better than everybody else. And Canelo, if you talk about the country of Mexico, you will never be loved like the great JCC if you go at your country about their meat practices. Because PEDs are an IQ test. When you fail a test, it means you didn't know when to cycle off or your team didn't get you ready enough for the test. Just about everybody's using, everybody's dirty to a degree. But when you fail the test, it's just because you messed up. That's all it is, man. So, if you think Triple G is clean, okay, go ahead. But the game is the game.
Naj, great call as always, man. We appreciate it, man. See you next week.
Great points, Naj. We appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right, homie. Take it easy.
So what about y'all? Y'all believe in the Rockets as the favorites? Because right now that's kind of the question. Not even do they have a puncher's chance. I think we all know they have a puncher's chance. Like if there's anybody that's going to take them down, it could be the Rockets. But do you even believe in the Rockets because of not just their playoff history, but just the playoff history of the best players on their team?
No, you got to prove it to me, dog.
We've seen dudes cough it up.
Yeah, I seen hard like OKC a championship, but like I just don't believe them. They have to prove themselves, and I think they know that. Like what I mean? Because even their coach has to prove himself in the postseason. And the fact of the matter is, I find interesting that they figured out a way to make themselves competitive because everybody thought like, okay, Golden State is going to run away with the next 8 years, and they may, but that's the one thing about like that 3-point line, that being the equalizer in that system is that it gives them a puncher's chance. And Golden State, the way they stack their team, is going to force other teams to follow suit because that may be the only way to compete with them if you can't super team up. Super team up the way they have.
The fact that Houston's, has the best record in basketball, do you give that all to them, or do you think Golden State may not take the regular season as seriously as they once did? I mean, because I would think after going 73-9 and not winning the championship, but probably knowing how you felt after going 73-9 and all the energy that it took to actually try to win every single night, I would think that, knowing what they could do in a playoff situation, that they wouldn't be sweating the regular season as much as
I agree with you.
Houston might be.
I mean,
right now.
you pretty much you've laid it out. There's nothing I can add to that. You said it all. You said it all.
You believe in them,
add to that. I mean, this is the Popovich. This is Popovich's fault. Popovich stopped sweating the regular season like a decade ago.
Yeah.
And
people were like,
everybody was
we
like,
gotta do that to win. I think the only reason they did that 2 seasons ago, because they realized, like, man, we're on this pace, we can at least go for it. But now when they just playing, you know what I'm saying? I'll fake a toe injury tonight. I don't feel like it.
Yo, Popovich.
I don't believe because when you look at them top to bottom, what I would consider the three most important figures in the organization, starting with Antony. Antony has done this song and dance many, many times before. Like, not just many, but many, many times before. So I have
many money.
I'm saying they were a Robert Horry Goon play away from winning the chip, or at least history would act like that's the way. They act like, that was Game 7 of the finals when it wasn't.
Yeah, and it wasn't. So I don't believe in Antony. So that starts at the top. James Harden, I can't not like his game. Offensively, it's a beautiful thing to watch because it's such a great blend of skill, savvy, craftiness, and athleticism. Like, he blends it. And I love to watch him play. But he has tricked off. Like, we talk about one or two specific instances when, in honesty, if we really think about it, we've seen James Harden trick off more than 3 games in the playoffs. So I don't believe in him. And then Cliff Paul was going down the escalator 3 years ago.
That was a long time ago.
This is true.
See, and Chris Paul, I don't give him the same MO as a James Harden. Like, I've never actually seen Chris Paul just straight up trick off games in the playoffs, but I've never seen him raise his game to a level that you see sometimes in the regular season to put his team over the top. So Chris Paul is the ultimate Donald Sterling comment to me. What has he done? Like, he gets props, and I'm not gonna front. Like, if I'm looking at point guards from this era, I'm gonna sit down and show my son Chris Paul tapes and be like, I want you to play like this. But back to that conversation we was having earlier, as far as greatness is concerned, like, he doesn't have the moments to go along with his skills and his stats. He doesn't have the moments. So he needs to add some of those, and then Chris Paul could be up there with the great point guards of all time. Could be. Many people have him up there, but
I just don't believe. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not going to surprise anyone at this point. They're not like laying low in the weeds. They're going to come out nowhere and beat anybody. Like, they're having a great regular season, but we've seen people with great regular season, not a lot of success. Now, here's the thing. I think they have an opportunity, to Todd said, and like we all said, but it's just tough seeing anybody beat the Golden State team in a 7-game series. Like, that's the thing.
Right.
It's not about just getting one win. It's about you have to beat them in the 7-game series. Golden
Put
State
it like
is
this,
22.
Jim. They did this 2 years ago. If this was 2 years ago, they'd have a shot. But with the addition of Kevin Durant, come on, man, 7 games?
That's the thing.
That's a lot of games to beat these dudes, man.
That's
you got to get 4?
That's not fair.
Like, because people thought they were unbeatable 2 years ago. But even 2 years ago, I give Houston a shot against that team.
They have a dude on their team that can score 60 by dribbling, and they even need him.
He's 60 with 11 dribbles, yo.
I didn't even think about that angle.
They'll get 60, dribble 11 times on one possession.
Yeah.
Be Austin, give me another team in the history of the NBA whose third option had a 60 game. Now, the thing about it is when Wilt played in L.A., he was past his prime.
He said Willie Burton. That 60 team was garbage. They didn't have options. That's why anybody can get off any given night. Yeah, there was no options.
My thing is this third option scored 60 in the game, dog.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, when you really think about it, who's going to guard Kevin Durant on the Rockets? Who's going to stop him from doing what he wants?
It's not even just guarding Kevin Durant. Like, how do you guard that team with Kevin Durant on it? It's hard to guard that team anyway.
You're going to sag off
Steph. You got to get up out of here, Jim.
Who's probably a better shooter than Durant. Anyway, man, thank you, good brothers and sisters, for joining us for another briefing for War Room. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, Facebook, Twitter, anytime at. We appreciate everybody who chimed in, everybody through. Thank you. Those that we couldn't get to, we apologize. Listen, man, special thanks to Fred Perdue And tune in next week because we'll be right back here for more everything in the world of sports and probably more Houston Rockets considering how their week goes. We'll see. Till then, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week. We'll catch you right back here. Catch everything we do, all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, our blogs, webcasts. Everything can be found at warroomsports.com. Pick up my book, Sports the Book, which can be found at sportsthebook.com or right at the hub of warroomsports.com. And until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in that war against ignorance. And we'll see you chumps on top.
6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dez, PJ, B. Austin, Doc Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323 working 0012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like Magic and the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Portrait, secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dez, TJ, Doc Beck, B. Austin. I'm Jock. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.
Required listening with Amazon Music.
Dad music again?
The greatest guitarist of all time.
Wait, who?
Alexa.